Oh, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to Talks Study Center. Today we want to talk about curve sketching. So, by curve sketching, what you need to keep in mind is this: you need to be able to draw the general graphs of each function of every fraction. It's very important to understand the general graph of each function. So I'll get into it. This is gonna be a short lesson, so this is what your examiners requires you to know. So if you like the video, don't forget to like, to subscribe, and to leave your comment. So let's get into it. General graph, we have different types of general graphs that we have. We have the first one, which is known as y is equals to x squared. So the general graph of this graph is something like this. You have to know this general graph by head. Because if any graph that we will be drawing, it comes from the general graphs. So this is the general graph of y is equals to x squared. Then we have another y is equals to x cubed. The general graph of this one is this one. Of y cubed. The general graph of y cubed is something like this. Then we have the general graph of 1 over x. The general graph of 1 over x. This is the general graph of 1 over x. The general graph of 1 over x, something like this. Then we also have another general graph. We have another general graph of y is equals to root of x. Y is equals to root of x. General graph is something like this. So how are these general graphs are developed? They are just developed from the table of values. If you use when x is equals to 0, find y. When x is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it will be drawn something like this. So these are the general graphs that you need to be bear in mind. Then we have another one. Y is equals to e to the power of x, the general graph of the exponential. It cuts something like this. This general graph of the exponential. Then it cuts here at what? At 1. The general graph of the what? Of the exponential. Then we also the general graph of ln y is equals to ln x. So it's something like this. The general graph of y is equals to ln x. So it cuts here what? At 1. I hope you are following. This is x and this is what? This is y. So these are some of the general graphs that you need to bear in mind. We also have the general graph of y is equal to sine theta, whereby this one is very easy. You just say sine 90, you punch it on a calculator, then sine 180, then sine 270, then the graph will be developed. The graph will be developed something like this. So this is 1 at 90, then this one is what? It's pi. Then from pi we move on to 270 degrees, where they move on to what? To 360. So this is the general graph of sine theta. Then we also have the general graph of cos theta. You do the same thing, so it's something like this. You do the same thing, but it can here at what? At 1. So these are the general graphs that you need to know in your mind. After understanding the general graph, you need to know. Understanding the general graph, you'll be able now to transform the general graphs to form the graphs that we have now. So these are the transformations that you need to understand so that you'll be able to sketch your graphs very well. So we will get into it. So the first one is f of x plus a. Then we have f of x minus a. So this one is a translation in the y-axis. It's translation in the y-axis. With a translation vector a0. It's a translation vector a0. So in other words, you are moving to the opposite side in the y-axis, going what? Going upwards with a unit. So in other words, you are just adding every vector of y by a over and y and 0. This is translation vector. So you are moving upwards. Then this one, so you are moving upwards like this. Then this one is the translation again in the y-axis, but you are moving downwards, and the translation vector is 0. It's minus what? It's minus a. So the translation vector is minus a. So you are moving downwards with a unit. This is the translation in the y-axis. For example, if f of x is equals to x squared, find f of x plus 3, item 1, b f of x minus 4. So first of all, you have to draw the general graph of f of x. So general graph of x squared, we say that is something like this. So this is the graph of x squared. Then we want to translate it. We want to draw f of x plus what? Plus 3. So this one we are applying the translation vector. We are applying the translation vector. This one because it's positive, right? So we are moving upwards with a unit. In this case, we're moving upwards with 3 units. So it's from 0, 1, 2, 3. So the sketch will be something like this. So here's what? It's 3. Then if you want to sketch the graph of f of x minus what? Minus a. So in other words, we also have the same graph like this one, the general graph, but f of x minus a. F of x minus a. So you are moving 4 units, but there's a negative sign downwards. So it will be something like this. So here's what? It's minus 4. So that's translation in the what? That's translation in the x-axis. Sorry, in the y-axis. That's translation in the y-axis. Then from translation in the y-axis, we have also translation in the x-axis. So for example, f of x minus a. Then we also have b, f of x plus what? Plus a. So if it is something like this, you are moving in a positive direction with a unit in the neighborhood. So this is translation in the what? In the x-axis. Translation in the axis. So if there is a negative sign, you're moving to the positive direction. Then when there is a positive direction here, move to the what? The negative translation. So it's just translation. So the translation vector in this case, it will be equals to a0. In this point, it will be equals to 0 minus a. So for example, if f of x is equals to x squared, find or sketch the graph of f of x minus 3, item 2, f of x minus 5. So the x plus 5 here, it's plus 5. So first of all, you have to sketch the general graph. So solution, the general graph is f of x is equals to x squared. So I want to sketch f of x minus 3, so which is equals to, we did function, right? So whenever there is x, we are putting x minus 3. So it will be x minus 3 squared, something like this. So first of all, you have to draw the graph of this one. This is the graph of f of x is equals to x squared, right? This is the graph of f of x equals to x squared. So I want to draw this one. So there's a negative sign here. So I'm moving 3 units to the what? To the positive direction. So the graph of f of x minus 3, it will be something like this. So here's what? It's 3. So that will be the graph. Then the other one is saying that f of what? X plus 1 plus 5. So we are moving to the negative side by 5 units. Negative side by 5 units. So it is something like this. So here there's what? Minus 5. So this is the translation in what? In the x-axis. The translation is, so you need to bear this in mind. You need to bear this in mind. It's very, 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 very important. So translation in the x-axis. Then this one we say that is translation in the what? In the y-axis. I hope you are noting the what? The different. You are noting the different here. I hope you are noting the different. Then from translation, we move on to reflection. So there is f of x, this one, and something like this one. Move on to reflection. So the first one is this one, minus f of x, minus f of x. So this reflection is reflection in the what? In the x-axis. Meaning to say the reflection in the what? In the x-axis. So the mirror line is the x-axis. So mirror line is the what? X-axis. So let's say we have a function of f of x. This one, this is the function of f of x. Then we want to apply this reflection. So we are reflecting it in the what? In the x-axis. So it will be something like this one. So that's why it appears something like this. So we have reflected this one in the what? In the x-axis. Then we have another reflection. This one is reflection in the y-axis. It's a reflection in the what? In the y-axis. Meaning to say the y-axis is the mirror line. So if we have something like this one, then we apply this reflection, which will just be like a mirror, right? Like a mirror. So this side will become this side, and this side will come to this side. So this is the outcome. So that's reflection for us. Then from reflection, move on to sketch. On sketch, we stretch with this one. There is a f of x. So this one is stretch. In other words, you multiply every y-axis value with a. You multiply every y-axis value with a. Let's say we have f of x is equals to x squared plus 2. So it's something like this. F of x equals x plus 2. So this is this what? This is 2, right? Then you want to stretch 2 f of x, so which is equals to every y value I'm multiplying by what? By 2. So this one, this was 2 times 2 of 8, what? 4. So the graph of 2 f of x, it will be something like this. But here to be what? 4. You're multiplying every y value by what? By 2. Then from this one, we also have the stretch, something like this one. F of ax. So in other words, you multiply every x-axis by 1 over a. For example, if f of x is equals to x minus 3 squared, something like this one. So if you sketch this graph, let's say it was something like this. Rather, it was something like this. Something like this. That is what? Is 3. That's the graph of f of x is equals to x minus 3, right? Then you want to sketch the graph of f of 6x, something like this. So you multiply every x value by what? By 1 over 6. So you multiply this one by 1 over 6, it will be what? It will be half, right? So it appears something like this. So this fly it says 3 multiplied by 1 over 6, what is it? Which is half. So this value will be 1 over 2. Okay, so these are the transformations that you need to bear in mind. These are the transformations that you need to know. So you have this translation in the y-axis, translation in the x-axis, reflection in the y-axis, the reflection in the x-axis, stretch in the y-axis, and stretch in the what? In the x-axis. So these are the transformation that we'll be using to sketch the graphs. So I will create another video now working questions. But if you have any question, don't forget to write it in the comment section, then I'll help you. Thank you very much.